It's common in air quotes, infused with the scent of potpourri. The films we commit to memory, crossing the felt ropes, watching from home on my TV, looking at all my eyes can see. They tell me I view obsessively.
Hello and welcome to The Obsessive Viewer, a weekly podcast reviewing 2 new or recent release titles every episode with an occasional free-for-all segment at the end that we call Potpourri. I'm your host, Matt Hurt, and you can find more of my work, including my written reviews, full episode show notes, and the complete backlog of our episodes and spin-off podcasts at obsessiveviewer.com. You can also follow me on Letterboxd and other social media platforms at the username of Obsessive Viewer. And if you'd like to support us and get access to hundreds of exclusive episodes, you can join our Patreon at patreon.com/obsessiveviewer. Recently on Patreon, I released an immediate reaction review of Scary Movie 6 and another one for Power Ballad. And coming up this weekend, hopefully, I'm going to be doing my Matt in his 30s breakdown thing where I basically... at the time of this recording on this Friday, I am turning 40, and because of that, I'm going to take all of the stats and everything about the movies that I watched throughout my 30s and talk about it to myself and to Patreon. So that'll be up, and then I'm starting a new project this weekend as well called Backhalf Blindspots, where I talk about movies that I have not seen or saw long ago, without rating them or anything. And yeah, so that should be kicking off this weekend as well. That'll be with Cool Hand Luke and the 2008 comedy drama, Remember the Days. So look forward to that on Patreon. Once again, you can sign up over at patreon.com/obsessiveviewer for all of that and a bunch more content. And if you want to support me without messing around with Patreon, you can always buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/obsessiveviewer. Okay, so later in the show, we're going to be reviewing the new American High comedy on Hulu, Never Change, in a secondary review. But before that, we're going to go over some movie news and Indianapolis screenings before reviewing the latest Pixar movie, Toy Story 5, in this week's feature review. And joining me this week is a man who I hope never changes, and someone that I suspect comes to life whenever I'm not around, and then catfishes me by sending me messages on my iPad. It's my friend and fellow Indiana Film Journalists Association member, Brent Leuthold, whose work can be found at awakeinthedark.com and can be followed on Letterboxd at the handle of Awake in the Dark. It's Brent Leuthold. Welcome back to the show, Brent. How's it going?
It's going great. I got to wish you a happy early 40th birthday.
Thank
it's a big
you.
one, man.
It is. It is a big milestone. We were talking this morning, and like, I think you had asked like if I have any plans or anything. I'm like, no, I'm just kind of chilling, doing nothing. I did get a ticket to go see. I saw the TV Glow at the Can tomorrow night. So that'll be a nice little thing for me to do, I guess. I don't know. But
so are they like projecting that like somehow through or playing it through a VHS or VCR or something?
I think so. Yeah. So it is. Yeah, it is a VHS screening of it. Which I talked about in the last episode. I'm not interested in those kinds of screenings like on a big screen, but I feel like if there is any modern movie that would look interesting and would be kind of enhanced by the VHS quality, it would be I Saw the TV Glow for a variety of reasons. So I'm eager to see it because it was my favorite movie of 2024, and I adore that freaking movie. So I'm excited to go check it out. So yeah, so that's what I'm doing for my 40th, or that'll be the last movie I see in my 30s, basically.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's your favorite from a couple years ago, and yeah, that would be an interesting. I've never, not that I know of anyway. I don't think I've ever seen anything like through a VCR or however they're going to play it, like a VHS screening of anything. So
yeah,
but that's a fun sort of hook, I guess. And yeah, that's obviously a great film to do it with, which is
Oh yeah.
Definitely a film that's tied very much to the 90s and sort of looking back and the
Oh yeah.
what is it, the something fog, what was the name of the show? Oh god, the Velvet.
Oh my God.
I'm putting you on
My
the spot.
favorite
This is
movie is
terrible,
2024. Oh my God. I know
the something opaque.
Yes, the pink opaque.
Pink opaque.
Yes,
I knew it was a color. I
that's
thought it was
right.
purple. I was thinking, but pink is works too.
Yeah.
Anyway, so pink opaque. So like and they have a lot of just a lot of 90s references and that very tied up in the sort of hazy lens of nostalgia. So that would be a cool one to watch. I don't know if I knew that they released that on VHS, but that totally tracks with, A24. I'm sure that's like one of several things they did marketing wise for that. So
I didn't even think about that. I assumed that they did because otherwise, but that's interesting. Yeah. That is very much an A24 thing, which I didn't even put that in my notes for movie news or anything. But we can talk briefly about the latest A24 shenanigans later. But speaking of shenanigans, Brent, over at awakenthedark.com, you have been up to some shenanigans. You recently reviewed Toy Story 5, Disclosure Day, and The Furious. How is it going over there, and what did you think of, the movies you've reviewed lately?
Yeah, I usually try to track, kind of everything I give like 4 out of 5 and above, which so far I haven't done any like 4.5s or 5s, and I'm talking about 2026 releases.
Right.
But I was kind of tracking those, and like I already have like 10, I think, that are over 4.5 or 4 out of 5. And honestly, for this point in the year, that's actually pretty good, just because every year is so backloaded with stuff that I really like. And, the majority of like my top 30, which is what I put out, at the end of the year, are 4 out of 5s. So anyway, all that to say, like, kind of looking back on it, like, it's at least based on that, like, it's been a pretty solid year in terms of movies that, not just movies that I, like or whatever, or think are good or pretty good or whatever, but like, again, would make probably a top 25, or top 30 of mine, like at the end of the year. So, including one that maybe we'll talk about here pretty shortly. So,
never change.
Yeah, never change. God. Yeah, we'll talk about that one too. But regardless, yeah. So I mean, it's been good. I mean, The Furious is one of them you just mentioned as well. I had a really great time with that. Nice. Disclosure Day, not as much, but I'm glad that people are seeing that and enjoying it. I certainly don't want to snuff out anyone's torch. It's always survivor things with me. But yeah, just that one didn't do it for me. But it's okay. I mean, Spielberg has made plenty of great flicks. That just wasn't one that registered with me. So
yeah. That's fair. When I reviewed it, I was mixed on it basically. But The Furious is one that I was really looking forward to seeing in the theater. Cause I didn't really know much about it or anything. And then I saw kind of, some people in our circle speaking highly of it. And then I was going to go see it in the theater, but the theater that I go to, apparently, there was something that shut down like half of the theater. Like, the entire screens from 8 to 14, it's a 14 screen theater, that whole section of the theater was closed off for some reason. I would assume it was maybe a pipe issue or something. But unfortunately, The Furious was playing on all of those screens. So they, for like 3 days, the 3-day window I had to go see The Furious where my schedule would align and everything, was like in the amount of time that, there were no screenings of The Furious at my theater.
Yeah. If it had been last month and the movie had been I Love Boosters, you could have tweeted at Boots Riley and he'd be like, I'm on the phone with management right now.
Oh yeah. He would have flown down here and just like
be like, what theater?
Yeah.
Just quote tweets you.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That's
Which
so
I'm
fun.
excited. Oh yeah. I'm excited to check out I Love Boosters because it just came out on digital and like I missed that in the theaters too. So I'm excited. But speaking of things missed in the theaters, I can't transition to this, but would you like me to regale you with some of the things that are going on in the Indianapolis area in regards to movies in the Playing This Week in Indie section of the podcast?
Please do.
All right. So we've got, of course, as always, this isn't one of those weekends, but every first and third Sunday of the month over at Alamo Drafthouse, movie trivia is played. It's run by our friend Lou Harry from the IFJA. And it's first and third Sunday of each month, 6 p.m., free to play. Go alone, go with the group, whatever, get some drinks, check it out. It's a lot of fun. And this coming Sunday, June 28th, they are showing it's a 20th anniversary screening of Talladega Nights, The Ballad of Ricky Bobby. So that's exciting. And then also over at the Alamo next weekend, I think, because next weekend is 4th of July weekend. On July 4th, they're going to be showing Lawrence of Arabia, and on July 5th, they're going to be showing Once Upon a Time in China. And I'm really hoping that I can go to both of those screenings, specifically because of the Backhalf Blindspots project that I'm doing on Patreon. So yeah, we'll see if I can get my old ass over there that weekend. And then over at the Can Theater, which the aforementioned Can, which is playing I Saw the TV Glow, which is that screening is already passed by the time people are listening or watching this episode. So anyway, coming up on Tuesday, June 30th, they're showing Rebel Without a Cause. And on the 2nd of July, they're showing Nashville. I've seen Rebel Without a Cause. We reviewed it on the podcast a long time ago. Really liked it. Never seen Nashville. Don't know if I'm going to make it to that screening, but it's on my master list of 3,000 movies that I have for my little Patreon project. So, yeah, any of those movies pique your interest, Brent?
I think that bit that you dropped about 3,000 movies is what piqued my interest the most.
Oh, yeah. Like, here's the thing. So, for that project, I had sent Mike, frequent, occasional co-host on this podcast. I'd send him just like screenshots of like the project and everything, the list and everything. And he was like, 3,000 movies? And I was like, well, okay, let's pump the brakes on this. Like, it's not like this whole idea is like, the idea is that, okay, these are movies that I have never seen in the 40 years that I've been on the planet. So there are movies that I haven't seen or movies that I've seen, but it's been so long that I didn't rate them on Letterboxd or anything. So the amount of movies is kind of, it doesn't really matter because it's going to be growing anyway, and being taken away because I'm going to add movies that I, forgot about. But it's not like a thing where it's like, from the time I turn 40 to the time I die, I'm going to watch these 3,000 movies. It's more of a like, hey, here's a grab bag of 3,000 movie titles. I'm going to basically occasionally shuffle the Letterboxd list, and when you shuffle on Letterboxd, it gives you 20 results in the shuffle, and so I'm going to like go on Google and do a 20-sided die thing and just pick whatever number is on there. That's how I got not Rebel Without a Cause, but Cool Hand Luke and Remember the Days. So anyway, yeah, it's a very big list, but it's not anything that's like, okay, I need to get it whittled down to 2,000 by this day or anything. It's like, yeah, I'll die with this list still having movies in it, but along the way, I'm going to watch a bunch.
Yeah. It's just, that's just a lot. I mean, I have 16 movies officially on my Letterboxd watch list, and I'm like in hives. Like that's like, and I even know like I'll get that done probably in the next couple months. And that's actually, most of those aren't even like, most of those are not 2026 releases.
Oh yeah.
They're just ones that I'm trying to catch up on kind of for various other projects. Like I have a few John Woo ones on there, and one that I'm doing for No Sleep October. So like, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But and then just some ones that so just like mainly stuff like that. But that's not even, most of those aren't 2026 releases. So anyway, yeah, I don't know. But if I start making a list that's that long, I'm just like, I just get zonked out, and I'm just like, I can't do it.
It's really interesting because I think with me, like, I haven't been officially diagnosed with ADHD, but I think anyone listening to this podcast for longer than the last 15 minutes will know that I'm a prime candidate for having ADHD. But there is something to just for me, just the act of making a list and like compiling a list like that gives me that satisfaction that I'm doing something without actually doing anything, which is always fun. But it's interesting though to get further into this tangent. The way that I compiled the list was I went through a bunch of the Letterboxd like official lists, like top 250 science fiction movies and horror movies and most fans, blah blah blah. And I filtered that by movies that I haven't rated, so I wouldn't have any that I'd seen. And I just kept adding those to the list. And then I went to several of my friends' lists. Like I went to your list to see if you had like a top 10 list or a favorite movies list. And I went through a bunch of people, yours included, like top rated movies, just all the things you've logged. And so like that's how I've amassed 3,000. Yeah. So
yeah, I don't have a top like 10 or 20 all time or anything like that, but yeah, the fives of mine are probably like a good place to start. I don't have a ton. I have like 100 and some. So I don't have a ton, but yeah, when I started with Letterboxd, I basically just decided to import everything, any movie that I've seen that's been released in my lifetime. So basically from 89 onward.
Nice.
It doesn't mean, so I have logged stuff that has come out before 1989, but it's stuff. It's not when I imported stuff, if that makes any sense.
Oh, that makes sense.
Like, yeah, if I've seen, whatever, like Pieces, that movie we watched last weekend, like that came out in 1982. Like I've logged that, but like I didn't, whenever I started Letterboxd in 2017, I think it was, I hadn't seen it like at that time, so I wouldn't have imported it. But obviously there's like plenty. That's why it's like, someone's like, oh, you haven't seen The Godfather? It's like, yeah, I haven't seen The Godfather.
Right.
Yeah. What it's about. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's really interesting.
Just what is that?
Right. The Godfather? I don't know.
Is that one word or I know the Godfather. Is it Godfather? Or, yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah. So I don't, at some points, I don't know. I usually will just go. It's usually just, I think last 4th of July, I watched Jaws. And I mean, it was a rewatch, but it's just whatever. It's just an easy way to just log it, and I watched it and sort of all that. But yeah, I don't want to like go through and import all of this, it's just,
right.
It's a nightmare. But so that's pretty much the way I take it. Like if I rewatch something that came out before 89 and I haven't already like logged it or whatever, then I'll typically log it. But
nice, that makes a lot of sense, and that's a very healthy way to approach it also, because
boundaries.
Yeah, because like mine, what I've got is like, famously, for the podcast listeners, I like Tiny and I and Mike, we manually like listed all the movies we watched starting in 2007. Like we were having Word documents in 2007 that was just basically like, these are the movies I watched. Like I like manually entering them. So I had Word documents of 2007 to like 2015 or 14 or whenever I started Letterboxd. And so like I went through, and I did this for Mike and Tiny also on their accounts, but I went in and I imported everything. I adjusted the tags and everything. So I have all of this data from 2007 and onward. And for so many of those years, those are from like time that I didn't have Letterboxd and I wasn't rating the movies. So all those movies go into Letterboxd. They don't have a rating. But as I, over the years, if I rewatch movies that I saw there, like I will obviously rate them. So I think like my watched but not rated portion of the 3,000 movies list is like 340, something like that. So it's manageable. But I'm hoping that with this project, I'll do like two reviews an episode and have the first one be the one that I've never seen. And then the second review being one that I'm rewatching.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So yeah. Because if you know me, I need to have 2 freaking reviews in an episode of a podcast. Apparently,
well, that's good. You get you get like you said, something that's new to you, and then something you're rewatching.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh yeah. Sneak peek at that. Remember the Days is not good.
I've never even heard of that. Cool Hand Luke, I know.
Yeah. Remember the Days is like a 2007, 2008. Like I wouldn't say rip off of Dazed and Confused, but it's very much like heavily inspired by Dazed and Confused. It's last day of school in 1999. It's a group of kids intersecting stories. They're like over a 24-hour period. And spoiler for the Patreon review, the only reason I watched that movie, and mind you, this is like 2007, 2008, so I was young. The only reason I watched it, the only reason it went on my radar was Amber Heard was in it, and I was like, oh, I'm very attracted to Amber Heard, so let's watch this movie.
You could have watched Never Back Down.
I did.
Oh, you watched that too. All right.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's both. You can do both.
Yes. Oh yeah. But the cast is actually really good. It's got Amber Heard, Lindsay Fonseca, Brie Larson, and some other people. One of the guys from what's the Star Wars? Not Star Wars movie, but Fanboys. Yeah. And I've just blown my wad in terms of what I'm going to talk about on Patreon on that, because there's nothing really to say about it.
I had never heard of it. I did not know those folks are in it, but they probably should have waited a little longer to do a 1999 last day of school movie. They should have waited, because 2008's not enough time for it to feel nostalgic. They should have waited longer.
And there's nothing in it that necessitates it being like a period piece, like a 1999 thing. Like there's one reference to Y2K and that's it. So
there you go. Y2K came out a few years ago, and that was at least I know I'm not trying to argue that that's a super great movie, but
sure.
I enjoyed it because I'm weird. But at least they got that part of it where it's like, you got to give it like about that 20-year mark for it to really ripen. So So if you want more insight into what 21 like 21-year-old Matt wanted to see, you were just drinking and remembering the days.
Oh yeah, remembering the days. If you want to get insight into how I chose movies and what actresses I found attractive, check out Patreon for this Backhalf Blindspots project. Again, that's at patreon.com/obsessiveviewer. Brent, are you ready to go into some news before the reviews tonight?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, awesome. So I've really only got one, and then we can talk a little bit about the A24 thing. But this isn't really even news. It's just something I'm excited about. I guess it is news because it was announced. But Criterion announced the complete Kubrick box set. I believe it's like their... it is a complete 4K Blu-ray set with... all of his films, 3 short films, all restored in 4K with their original soundtracks alongside the 5.1 mixes, restored and remastered. Over 25 hours of interviews, documentaries, behind-the-scenes materials, deluxe packaging illustrated with rare photographs, artwork, and documents annotated by Kubrick himself, all housed in a singular box inspired by the director's legendary archive. It is available to pre-order on Criterion. .com. It's 4K and Blu-ray in the set. And you can pre-order it for $480 for a 30-disc set, which I think is a pretty good price. And it releases on October 20th. And of course, they do routine 50% off sales throughout the year and everything. So keep that in mind. But I just want to say, like, I'm very, Brent, are you like a physical media guy? Let me ask that question.
Not a ton. I have, so I don't have a 4K TV, so I'm kind of in a weird like spot with that. Now I know you mentioned that it has 4K and Blu-ray, and
right.
I have bought, I think pretty much all the Criterion movies I bought the past, let's say 4 or 5 years have all been, well, except maybe like 1 or 2 that didn't have 4K available, are 4K and Blu-ray. So I can at least like watch them now. Barry Lyndon, incidentally, is the most recent one that I bought, and I watched that on Blu-ray. Looked immaculate and all that. Nice. And that's another example of one I had already, I think, seen at some point, but but I hadn't logged it. And anyway, so yeah, logged it. Now it's on there, and now people can't say, "You haven't seen Barry Lyndon?" Yes, I've seen Barry Lyndon.
I will say, at some point, if the 20-sided die deems it, I may watch it because it is on my list. It's on my 3,000 list.
Yeah. Well, I'll probably give you my 4K and Blu-ray combo if I get this Kubrick set. I think that's the only one of his that I have. Yeah. You might get it too.
Oh, yeah. I might. Like, I was going to jokingly say, but not really jokingly, like, it is, my birthday's Friday, gift cards are cool. So... but it's funny because like I've kind of gotten away from physical media myself. So much so that like I've had like the time was I would have like a display of all my physical media and everything. It was like my pride and joy. But like I've lived in this apartment for 3.5 years, I think. And like I still have just stacks of my DVDs and Blu-rays just kind of lining up against the wall. Like I've been like, I will take them to Half Price Books and like I'll just sell them on a whim just to like declutter a little bit. But I keep like all my Kurosawa Criterion Blu-rays. Those are unsellable for me. Even my Seven Samurai DVD is not sellable because it's just sentimental value of that.
Yeah.
And like I'm always just mad that I sold my original Seven Samurai DVD from high school.
Yeah.
Because I would just like to have that. But anyway, yeah. So despite all of that, I am like very interested in this collection for sure.
Yeah. I have a Kubrick, like probably 6 or 7 Blu-ray discs, something, or Blu-ray box set. It was probably one that Warner's put out because I know it has The Shining and Full Metal Jacket and I think Eyes Wide Shut. I don't know exactly how many it is. I think maybe like 6 or 7.
Nice.
But
6, 7.
Yes.
Sorry.
I think it has like 2001. Like it was pretty good. Like, and this was years ago. I mean, maybe like probably like early 2010s, something like that, when I was kind of trying to build up just a little bit of a collection. But yeah, anymore and that was so much before all of these streaming services too. Back in like 2010 or 2011 or whenever I bought it, it was pretty much like on demand or whatever through, whatever cable thing or Netflix if they had it, meaning the disc part of it, the mail in Netflix or Netflix Instant or whatever.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah.
So regardless, I think that was honestly probably when I built up the most amount of a collection. But now, it's just so many streaming services. But I think it's awesome. I mean, people do physical media, go for it. It's just for me, I can't really justify the the price of it for
Sure.
like, yeah, it's just, I would rather tend to just have access to a lot of stuff that comes and goes on streaming services than
Yeah.
to like, have the one thing. But I get it. And I think it's
Yeah.
awesome. I mean, I wish if I had unlimited monies, I would just
Mhm.
not pay for any streaming services.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's all better quality. Like whether it's a Blu-ray
Yeah.
or 4K, it's all better than
Mhm.
what you get if you're just streaming on I mean really anywhere, or at least me, because I don't pay for I don't pay for the premium version of
Oh,
Netflix.
yeah,
I pay for
same.
standard, which is
Mm.
1080p. And anyway, so
Yeah. And
anyway,
that's funny. Like, I'm still on my 1080p TV. I don't even have a 4K TV like like you said that you
right.
don't. And like, I'm still interested, very much interested in it. It's also funny because I knew that like eventually I'm going to upgrade my TV because I watched the Lost series finale when it aired on this TV. So like
Wow.
that's
Yeah.
how old this freaking TV is.
Yeah.
So I'm going to need to upgrade it at some point. And it's funny because I knew that, and at one point like years ago I was like, I'm going to, this movie's coming out on 4K, and I don't have a 4K player, but I'm going to buy this cuz it's a really good release, and like eventually I'll be able to play it. That movie is 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah, I
so
mean
if I
that
get this,
480
it's
is probably, I'm sure, a lot of like sticker shock, but it's like 30
yeah.
discs, isn't it? And like
Yeah,
half
30
of those
discs.
have to be like bonus features because
Oh yeah.
he made what, 13, 14 features,
13,
something like
yeah.
that. Yeah, so I mean the majority of those discs are
Yeah.
extras that I'm sure a lot of Criterion always does amazing with their
Mhm.
bonus
Which I think
features. So
that's what's the biggest like selling point for me with physical media these days is just the special features. I was thinking about this. I don't remember if I brought it up on the podcast when talking about Obsession, but I find it really interesting the way that we are now consuming media and everything. Like, it is the streaming era, like everything is streamable. And with that, there's no special features really. Like there's not a wealth of bonus features that you have to dig for them. And that's something that I miss from having like in my youth, buying a DVD and watching the special features, watching the commentary. And that's something it still exists, but it's a little absent. Like, I was going through my Vudu because I was working from home, and I was like, oh, I don't want to like draw my attention away from work to the extent that I'm going to watch an entire movie, but I'll go to Vudu and see like which movies have special features, and I can just play that. So I watched like a bunch of the Dr. Sleep like behind the scenes stuff while I was working, and it worked great.
yeah.
But that's not like the standard thing with digital and streaming. Like, I remember it was a big deal when Netflix briefly had like commentary tracks for House of Cards episodes. I think it was like a testing ground that they did or something. But what I find interesting in relation to like Obsession is that what happened after Obsession was released was that a lot of people that worked on the movie were going to TikTok and Instagram, and they were saying like, hey, I did this, I did that. I think I did mention this on the podcast, but this is what I did on that. And I'm like, oh, this is like Gen Z's bonus features.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's about the closest thing. I mean, I wish that, because I mean, pretty often what I'll do, I mean, yeah, I do stream a lot of new release titles or whatever, like on streaming services, and those don't have bonus features. But I wish at least when you rented stuff you could get access to those, because that's one thing I miss from like the Netflix mail era, or even Redbox, which is no longer a thing, but just something where you can rent a disc, which is really kind of hard to do now. Where you're renting something, but you still get you still have the tangible disc, and you can still watch the features. Whereas, I mean, I usually rent stuff on Vudu or Fandango at home, and I'm pretty certain I'm pretty certain when you rent something, even if you pay $20 to rent it or 25 or whatever, a lot, if it's a premium VOD, like I think you still don't get those features. Now, if you buy it, oftentimes you do, almost always you do. But that's one thing I miss is that like, and I get that that's their incentive for them to say, oh, you need to buy it so you get those features. But if you really think about it, you didn't have to buy it to get the special features, to see them.
Yeah.
I wish that was something they did, but I don't think that's, I don't want to say it's ever going to happen, but I mean, it'd be really interesting if a distributor like Focus or whatever, because Obsession did so much of the box office, there's so much interest in it. I wonder if that's a thing they could push for, to say like, you get these special features whether you rent it or buy it. But so many people are probably going to buy it anyway. They probably don't, and they probably don't even need an incentive. People are just going to rent it anyway because it's such a. So who knows? Yeah, I kind of miss that, and that is definitely something about physical media that I really like. I just it's annoying that's something you just sort of lose, and it's like you lose that from not being able to rent the physical thing, and then if you rent it digitally, you don't get that either. So I don't always want to buy, everyone, this is a common sentiment, like I don't always want to like, buy everything that I want to see. So anyway.
You don't want to buy like the physical release of Never Change so that you can hear John Reynolds' commentary track about all the funny bits that they did.
Oh boy. Yeah, maybe they can laugh on the commentary track, so at least someone's laughing. I did rewatch RoboCop on Criterion. I think that was last month or whenever they did that. The Laserdisc commentary, which is like it's not like it's totally like lost to time or whatever, but
sure.
I don't think it was like the same one that was available. I had never heard it because I don't really, and that was cool because I love that movie. And that was a fun. So Criterion is one, I think that they're a little, different, but like, I think Netflix, HBO, Hulu, like all of those, you're not going to be able to, they don't provide commentary tracks for the majority of things.
Yeah. And that's interesting because, speaking of Criterion and going back to the Stanley Kubrick thing, like when I saw this about the collection, I was just like, oh man, Criterion, like, first of all, obviously, like my hope is that one day they're able to release a Kurosawa box set. Like that is something I'm just dying for them to do.
Yeah.
But hey, Kubrick is good too. But when I saw that, I was like, oh man, I'm gonna definitely want to get this. And I was thinking about the whole special features thing and everything, and how it's not lost to time or anything, but it's something that's losing, it's losing out. Like there's not a big demand for it. So I resubscribed to Criterion channel because they have like a bunch of commentary tracks, and I started, like, while I was working in the office today, I started like listening to the Night of the Living Dead commentary.
Oh, cool.
And then I just like listening to it as a podcast, basically. I didn't get far into it because I got distracted with work. The stuff I was being paid to do. Lame. Anyway, so
work is distracting you from your job.
Exactly.
Or your job is distracting you from your work. I don't know.
Yes. And Chrome is distracting me from an adequate setup, which that's a behind the scenes thing. Anyway, so I like Criterion. Criterion's great. So that's really all the news. Do you want to talk about the A24 thing? I don't have anything readily available for it, but basically, my understanding is they have struck a deal with Google that is meant to further enhance or get a better understanding of AI in the realm of creating films, like filmmaking. That's my understanding of it. Brent, how do you feel about this? And do you have any other additional insight from my just off the cuff remarks?
I don't really know that much about it. I haven't really read any articles about it. I know people are upset about it, which I, understand. I'm assuming based on the headline and kind of what I've not even the articles, but just what generally gleaned from it is that I think because I think with a lot of AI, isn't it like effectively sort of like training it? So I'm kind of gathering that Google is paying them $75 million so they can use their films to like train. It's not Gemini. Well, Gemini is their AI, but like, do they have a video one? I thought wasn't it Sora or whatever it was?
Sora was a thing,
but
I think
now,
it's
right?
gone. Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying.
Was like meta. I don't know.
That's the thing is like I don't understand. That's why I don't know what their. I mean, like any AI acquisition or whatever. I don't know what they're actually getting. I know I know A24 is getting $75 million, I guess, but
yeah,
and I'm sure Google will do something that'll eventually be worth way more than $75 million with it. But yeah, I don't know. I kind of plead ignorance on it a little bit, not because I mean, yeah, I don't know. I'm sure it's bad. Like, I don't know. I'm sure it's not good. I don't know. I kind of view it as similar kind of thing to like, I don't know, private equity acquisition, even though it's different. Yeah. I mean, this is because it's going explicitly to AI. So like, that's not fun, but I don't know. Dirty money. Dirty money.
Yeah.
Let's put it in that category,
There we go.
Yeah. It's like, the people who are, eating babies or whatever, are like giving A24 $75 million. I'm like, I do like A24 and want them to have money, but at the same time, I don't know, man. They shouldn't be getting it from the baby eaters, right? They should be getting it from me. I can pay him $75 million.
Exactly.
And I don't even need that many babies. Yeah, right. Yeah, and I have, over the years. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Everyone's like, oh, Google this, Google that. Yeah, maybe I can't write a $75 million check like on the spot that won't bounce.
Right.
But you gotta think of the long tail. I've been in this for a bit. So yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. 200. I'm in 200 movies plus with them. So yeah.
Nice.
It's like a lot in movie tickets. So
yeah. And it's funny that this news is coming out like so soon after like Backrooms became literally like the highest grossing A24 film.
Right.
Like that's wild. And I do want to say on that note with Backrooms, Kane Parsons has like said some things about the AI acquisition and everything. He first, like a couple of weeks ago, he made a statement about like, yeah, I'm never going to touch AI with filmmaking. Like that's just not something I see a need for in what I do at all, and I never will. So I respect him for making that statement. And then when this came out, I'm seeing screenshots here. I don't know where this is from. It doesn't. I don't think maybe it's Discord or something. I'm not sure. But someone said, I really wonder if Kane is still going to do another Backroom series / film now that A24 has done this. And I'll just read some of his responses. Kane Parsons said, making it very clear these resources are not to be spent on Backrooms. Though in complete fairness, I have no idea what implementing that kind of investment tangibly means. Obviously, A24 is a big machine. I've got no input on this investment. And then someone replied, the original poster replied and said, yeah, facts. If anything, I'm sure A24 will allow the freedom of not using AI, hopefully. And then Kane said, they will. I can't imagine this decision is popular with most directors. And then he said, don't put your faith in corporate entities, or at least the permanence of one. They're tradable parts. Which the more I like see and hear from of him, I'm like, man, I'm a fan of this guy. I think he's
I mean, cool. I was definitely impressed with Backrooms, and I mean, if you look at Obsession and Backrooms last month, I mean, it's like it's just funny not funny, but I mean that Focus won that bidding war on Obsession.
Yeah.
Because can you imagine if A24 had a release? I mean, they would have released it at a different time. So it's kind of the whole, you can't totally know. But if they would have just hypothetically ponied it up, they could have, I mean, it's not like Focus marketed that movie incredibly well. I mean, I think they did a good job with it. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But like A24, they know how to market stuff. So that would have been kind of crazy. But it, in the same realm, honestly, it's like good. Like, I don't want any distributor to have the whole, like, every single thing. We don't want that.
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, all that to say, who knows with the AI thing? Yeah, I mean, it's not. No, I don't want film. And And I'm sure, again, I don't know that any of the details of this, but I'm sure A24 was, being the marketers they are, were probably able to pitch that, like, oh, like their brand, you know, and like the films.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you want to like teach your AI how to make an A24 horror movie, it's like, that's just so lame.
Yeah.
Like, that just sucks so hard.
Like, that is so insane.
Yeah.
That's so insane. And like, not to get too far into an AI tangent or anything, but like, just in general, I've said this before, but I hate that we live in this time where we have to talk about AI in this context. And it's like, it's so antithetical to like me when I was a child, like dreaming about the future and technology and everything. Like here,
Right.
it's just like, why are the lamest people doing the things that like were so cool and interesting to me when I was a child? Like the thought of things, like why are just the lamest people on earth facilitating that? Yeah, but anyway, from that, there was a whole thing, like something that I don't understand is, again, we're going back to like generative AI, the idea of people typing something into a prompt and then it generating something, and then that person being like, oh, I made this. Like even saying like, oh, I made this with AI. Like you didn't make shit. You didn't make anything. And there was a thing, not to, well, you know, I'm turning 40 in a couple of days, so I still have time to talk about some of the youthful stuff. So on TikTok, since I'm about to age out of using TikTok, there was a controversy with this guy who, I don't want to paint with too broad a brush, but he just had the look of someone who absolutely would not have any scruples with using AI or seeing the harm in using AI to create something. And that's what he did. And what happened was that he got on TikTok and said, so my girlfriend, wife, I get girlfriend. My girlfriend, no, my wife. Who cares? He's blocked anyway. He's like, my wife reads a lot of romance novels, and she is constantly saying like, oh, she's so tired of like reading the same thing over and over again. And so I was on TikTok and I saw this TikTok where this couple, like this woman was asking her husband, like, what would you do if you had a time machine and you can go back to when I was, when we didn't meet? Like, how would you interact with me? And like, it's actually really clever. I really like this. His response was like, oh, I would go back in time at different points before you and I met, and I would just interact with you by just giving you like your favorite like flower or something, or doing things that are just like that I know are like your favorite things, and just like, and then just leave, and like you would have no idea what's going on. I thought that's cute, that's funny. And this guy whose wife was tired of reading romance novels, he was on TikTok and he was like, so what I did was I took that idea and I just plugged it into AI and had it write a whole book. And no, he didn't say that. He didn't say that. To be fair, he didn't say had it write a whole book, because he said, and I wrote a whole book from that. Meaning that he fed it into AI. AI vomited out a book, and he's like, oh, I wrote this. And he got a lot of backlash because he was like doubling and tripling down, and he was saying, like, I was just thinking, like, this is the future, because like I can write like a book a week this way, and like if I can like throw it up on Kindle for like $3 or something, and like people will get the stuff that they want and not have to go through all of this other stuff because I'm writing these things. And like, it's like, oh my God, it's one of those things where when I see something that stupid and destructive to the creative medium, I am so excited to block that person, because it tells me as much as I need to know about what their opinion is of anything. And it also prevents them from seeing any of the mediocre shit that I put on the internet. Like, it's like, oh yeah, he doesn't have anything to say that's worthwhile. So I'm gonna expunge him from my feed. And also, he doesn't deserve to see any of my hot takes about movies.
You're an actual person who actually is using your brain to develop thoughts about another, piece of art. So I think you're better off. Yeah. I mean, all that stuff, I hear stuff like that. And I mean, any other AI anecdotes, and it so solidifies to me that in terms of the media space, we're absolutely headed towards these two channels of, they won't be called this, but high art and low art, or organic and, grass-fed art and, and factory farmed art, where it's just, you'll have to pay more. There will be a premium for something that was actually created by humans, and there will be people who will pay for AI generated art. They'll pay less for it, and they'll see it as a discount and a deal.
Yeah.
I think there will absolutely be those two tiers. I don't want it to be.
No,
but that's a great example of it. When you talk about a person who says, I can write a book a week and generate a book a week this way, that to me says, okay, well, here's a guy on TikTok. You think studio heads aren't thinking that? You think music industry people aren't thinking that? Of course they are. And AI, with a lot of this stuff, unfortunately, like music has already gotten hit hardest with anything, kind of like, Napster during the whole, that whole thing around the turn of the, so like music's already getting kind of the worst of it up front, where there is already so much quote unquote low art, with AI generated music on any bigger streaming service. So, they're just testing the waters. It's all it is. Is just, and eventually the public opinion, I don't want to say it'll turn, but all it has to do is just, I say billions and trillions of dollars will need to be spent on data centers to keep this thing moving, right? Where the technology catches up to it, where it's not indistinguishable, but it's where it's fast food, right?
Yeah,
where someone says, "Oh, well," because how many times, just in our little circle, how many times do we hear people say, "Oh, well, it's not the best movie ever, but it's turn your brain off fun." And we say that about stuff now that's made by totally by humans. It's not going to be long at all until people say, "Oh, well, I know it's not." And it's the same thing that people use for why people aren't, vegan. They'll say, "Well, it's like, it's like it's made a battery farm, churn it out. It's like, I'm not hurting anyone." It's like, well, yeah, you don't need to think about that, I guess, but
yeah. It's such a troubling time. I hate it so much. And I will give a shout out to fellow podcasters and friends of the show. So I was listening to a Stephen King podcast called Short Bites, which I was on a couple of episodes a while ago. It's this guy Jason, who I like. He's a really good dude. He had my friend Kim C from the Year of Underrated Stephen King on, and they had a really great discussion. And toward the end of that episode, they were talking about AI, and there was an anecdote that Jason said, which I highly recommend going and listening to the entire episode. But he had an anecdote where he said that, like, he used to work somewhere that, like, he saw firsthand people that would basically like inherit like boxes filled with books, and they would just read them like voraciously. And he would ask them, like, who's your favorite author? And they're just like, I don't know. I just read them. Like, it's just something to do to pass the time, basically, is the vibe that it is. And it's like, it's so jarring to me because like my and the people in our circles are not entire personality, but like our lives have like a certain level of revolving around movies and art and interacting with that and like really analyzing it. And it's really hard for me to wrap my head around the idea of people just like you said, like just turn your brain off and watch something.
Mm-hmm.
And seeing, like, knowing that people do that with everything that they watch is like really really disturbing to me in a sense, which people have their hobbies, but
well, I did
what
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, sorry. I just wanted to say an end anecdote to that Short Bites podcast. Kim, my friend Kimsey, who's been on the podcast before, she, like, when they were talking about that, she was saying that, you know, we need to get mean about this. Like, people who, like, go for AI and are okay with it, like, we need to shame them out of it, because it can't rise to you know, the dystopian future that we're hurtling towards.
Yeah, it could though. But
it could.
But the thing that I worry about too, again, kind of talking about people's sort of barometer for entertainment, my fear is going to be that instead of saying, you know, again, this is why I'm sorry, film criticism matters, any sort of like art consideration or thoughtful, however you want to say it, you know, like this stuff matters, because okay, even in the realm of what we're talking about now, where even if it's something like Toy Story 5, where, you know, computers, there are tools that are used, we know that that's a different subject or conversation than AI.
Sure.
You know, things can be good and things can be bad, you know, and made by humans and all that stuff. It's like when we're talking about that level playing field, but what I'm worried about in talking about this higher low art future dystopian thing that we're hurling towards is people will say, well, is it realistic or not? In other words, like, how uncanny is it? Because there's a lot of AI generated stuff now that you look at on especially movies or anything like that, where it's this uncanniness. You're just like, this doesn't look convincing. And so I think what it will turn into, as opposed to the conversation of whether this is really good or not, is just a matter of if it looks convincingly real. And those are, again, two different conversations, I think. Because something can still look convincingly real and will continue to. I think that's the natural. It will get better and better. The technology will, but it can. But it's like, I think that's where it's going to get to a point where people, like graphics on a video game, right? People will say it's so real. It's like, okay, well, it can still be a bad video game, you know?
Yeah. Oh
it's
yeah.
Like, and I'm not a big gamer, so I probably shouldn't even step into that pool. But that's what I'm worried about when we're talking about like the cultural conversation. I think they'll say, AI's getting pretty good. It's like, okay, that's fine, but is it really better than what people can come up with? And hopefully the answer will always be no, but you know.
Exactly. And that's it's a bigger thing. And I promise we're going to talk about Toy Story 5 eventually.
Which was made with all AI, by the way.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But the kind of the big picture thing of it is, and people, I mean, if people are listening this far in who don't view art as, you know, art, like I don't know why they're still listening, but people who don't have an issue with AI and the rise of AI, like when you're talking about like high art, low art, kind of that dynamic, that dystopian future, the problem that I have, like what it comes down to, one of the big problems I have with the idea of AI generating any kind of content whatsoever is that people who are proponents for it, who are cheerleading for it, I think that the most benefit of the doubt that I can extend to them is them thinking like, oh, it just makes it easier. It makes people who aren't able to make art be able to make art at a higher quality than they would be able to, which that in and of itself, like, I can understand the logic of it. I don't agree with it. I think that with anything creative, anything at all creative, you have to have a starting point where you suck ass at it. Like, it is so, like, that learning curve is the most potent and powerful thing about it. Like, years ago, I did like a whole review series on the website that was decade reviews, where back in 2004, I was writing reviews of movies that I saw in the theater when I worked in the movie theater in high school. And I went back to those reviews and rewatched the movies and then updated the review, or like did an updated review and compared them. That kind of thing is so satisfying because you're not the same person you were 10 years ago. You're not the same person who interacted with that media at that time. And because of that, I think that the idea of AI becoming this thing that is creating art, in air quotes, it's losing that human connection little by little. Like, yes, you can put in a prompt, you can explain things how you want it, and then it can spit out something, but that is not going to be you creating anything. That's you giving a piece of machinery or a piece of technology the building blocks for it, and then it's you not building any of those blocks. And the long-term implications of that, the long-term issue I have with that, is that art, by its very definition, is the creative endeavors of the human race to document our time here,
right,
and to document what it is to be a human on this planet, in your little corner of the planet. Like, one of the reasons why I saw the TV Glow, which I'm seeing tomorrow, why that was my favorite movie of 2024, is that me, as a cishet male, I was able to really get an idea of what it is to be like a trans person who is repressing their feelings and repressing who they are. And like, that was such a potent and powerful thing that whole thing cannot fucking be replicated by AI. That is like a Jane Schoenberg thing. And that's what art is. So like, taking someone's TikTok and then having AI spit out a book about their thing, that's not fucking art. That's toilet paper. And it's just, it's so aggravating to me that there is anyone who's like, yeah, we'll make a TV show, we'll make a movie using AI, it's fine. Like, fuck no, it's not. You're like,
yeah.
I almost said you're not human, but
yeah,
not that far. But it's terrible.
Well, that's the whole thing about, and we can get into, but again, what I'm gathering that A24 probably pitched them, because more than just about certainly any like quote unquote indie distributor or whatever, they have like the most kind of codified brand, or what they could pitch as a brand to people. But it's so funny that, like, because I've seen all of literally everything they put out, save for two movies, well, maybe only one now, I guess, The Invite and Death Robin Hood, which I haven't seen. But regardless, like there isn't a one, even within A24 horror, I feel like there are quite a few like different kinds of movies and subgenres within that. And like horror makes up like, I don't know, not even a quarter of their catalog, or if you want to like actually look at their entire everything they've put out. I mean, I don't have that figure exact. Maybe it's more than that, and I don't know. But I mean, like they distribute a lot of kind of different types of movies. So again, I mean, and one of which is, I saw the TV Glow. Like I don't really know any other movies, even within A24, where I'm like, oh yeah, it's like that. You know, so it's like, it's such a weird thing to me that like you're going to train AI to make something that is, or to attempt to make something that just, it's like, that's not the point. Like you said, like the Jane Sonebrown, the life that, she that's the point of art. Like you said, it is to document, everyone documented their own experience. So it feels like such a fool's errand to me to aside from all the ethical concerns and all that. I mean, just generally, like, people already complain that like Hollywood and filmmaking, all this stuff is like so late to the game. It's like you're literally going to like Xerox all these movies, and I mean, to use an antiquated term itself, but copy and all this stuff, and try to copy and paste all these like formulas and algorithm up a film of stuff that's already come out. It's like by the time you already do that, you're going to be behind the curve. Like, don't they know that? I think they probably do, and they don't care. So anyway.
Yep. And to tie it back to the conversation about bonus features and physical media and everything, just really quickly, that is also a big selling point for me as why we need that bonus content and everything, because that is, I remember like when DVDs like were first like on the market and like were being sold and on like the special features, like people were saying like it's like you have a film course just right in front of you at your fingertips.
100%.
Yeah, and the problem that I have with the idea of, you know, bonus features leaving and not being readily accessible or easily accessible in the streaming age is that there is such an abundance of people online who don't don't understand, but they don't watch movies or understand like what goes into making them. Like there's such it's a whole media literacy thing. They don't understand. They don't have the tools to dive into what makes a movie good or great or bad. It's just like immediate reaction. Check out patreon.com/obsessiveviewer for my immediate reactions. But like immediate, like click of the fingers, like, okay, this is what I felt about this. That position isn't going to change. I don't need to think more deeply about it or anything. And it just sucks.
Yeah.
Yep. So anyway, and yeah, that's it for news before the reviews. Check the show notes for timestamps and for links to the things that we've discussed. Brent, are you ready to get into our feature review of the evening for Toy Story 5?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
All right, so we are going to be reviewing Toy Story 5, which is currently in theaters. It was released on June 19th, 2026. And of course, we're going to do a non-spoiler review, followed by a spoiler review. If you want to switch around, check the show notes for timestamps. Those are also available at obsessiveviewer.com/OV509. And usually I say that we'll play a clip from the trailer, but I have a new bumper thing that I'm going to play to switch over to spoilers. So stay tuned for that. But we're going to go into our non-spoiler review. Like I said, Toy Story 5 is in theaters. It was directed by Andrew Stanton and co-directed by McKenna Harris, written by both McKenna Harris and Andrew Stanton. And the cast includes Tom Hanks, Tim Allen, Joan Cusack, Conan O'Brien, Scarlett Spears, Greta Lee, Shelby Ribera, Michelle Harris, and Craig Robinson. And the premise, according to IMDb, is Woody, Buzz, Jesse, and the rest of the gang's jobs are challenged when they're introduced to electronics, a new threat to playtime. So, Brent, let's talk Toy Story 5. What is your relationship at this point with the Toy Story franchise, and how did you feel about this fifth installment?
Yeah, I think probably a good amount of millennials maybe feel this way. I was about 6 when the original Toy Story came out in 1995. I went with my family. It's the only movie I can remember seeing with my grandma, my dad's mom. And it was a big deal because it was the first fully computer-generated feature and everything. And so, you know, I have a lot of, kind of strong. The first one's still my favorite of all of them. And I think that's,
nice.
You know, I don't think they're going to make one that's going to whatever, maybe top that, not in terms of necessarily like how the movie is in retrospect, but just what they were able to kind of accomplish and of course how influential it was and all of that. So yeah, huge fan of that one. Second one, enjoyed it a whole lot. I still think that's the second best one they did. I know for a while that was the top rated movie like ever, like on Rotten Tomatoes at 100% with the most amount of critic reviews. Wow. This is when like Rotten Tomatoes was like first came out probably around 2004 or whatever, a long time ago, over 20 years ago. Now there's a lot of stuff that has 100% and all. Anyway, so yeah, really love those first two. Third one I'm not as big on. I actually like, I know that some people feel like that's like the strongest one. I enjoy it, but I don't think it was better than the first two. I like the fourth one as well, maybe about as much as 3. Here we are with 5. I was kind of concerned. I know Bob Iger a couple years ago when Lightyear came out in 22, that was kind of the return to theaters. It sort of flopped-ish. I mean, it still made a lot of money, but they were, I think, just hoping for like a bigger thing. So then, you know, they had a string of like follow-up, like originals. I think Elemental came out, and like maybe one other one. I don't exactly remember, but
Elemental,
and then
Elio.
Elio was like after 2024. But anyway, he had said, he had basically said like, you know, we're gonna lean more like towards sequels, you know. And I was like, that kind of sucks. Like I'm kind of, you know, I tend to just be more of an originals, you know, guy, just overall, not just in the Pixar realm or whatever. But it's funny, like with the benefit of hindsight now, in 2024, Inside Out 2 came out, which I liked quite a bit.
Same. Not
as much as the first one, but I enjoyed it a lot. And then, you know, like Hoppers earlier this year, I just didn't didn't work for me. And then Toy Story 5 comes out, and it's pretty great. Like, I think it's the best Toy Story feature. I'm not counting any of the shorts or like Lightyear, which is like a spin-off, but I think it's the best Toy Story, you know, movie since the second one. So it's, you know, it's weird in retrospect, kind of going back and like, damn, if they're gonna make sequels this good, like, and then and then the originals are kind of spotty for me. I don't know, you know, who knows where stuff's gonna go down the road, but it's just sort of funny that in retrospect, it's like, well, they made two pretty killer sequels, and I'm not on the best streak in terms of originals, so so who knows? But I'm just glad to have a Toy Story movie that I feel, you know, really good about, as opposed to like, it's pretty good, glad it's out there, that sort of thing. Like, I'm like, no, this is like really, really solid, really good. So
that's great. And I also really liked this one. It's funny, my kind of history with the franchise and everything, it's a little, it's fairly similar to yours. However, I've always thought Toy Story 2 was the lesser of like the whole franchise, really. And I was very much just really affected by Toy Story 3. I thought that was great, if only because of the way that it kind of caps off the like Andy era of Toy Story, and having like that emotional resonance as someone who saw like who saw and loved like all the Pixar movies in my childhood. It just like had that emotional resonance in a big way. And then Toy Story 4 came out, and I reviewed it on the podcast. I saw it in the theater. I don't I had to look up the Wikipedia summary while the trailers were playing for before Toy Story 5. So I was like, wait, what exactly happened here? I know that Duke Kaboom was a thing. That's about it. And so I wasn't really going into Toy Story 5, I was maybe a little bit jaded because of that. I was like, okay, is this going to actually be like the best it can do? Is it can be fine for me, because I did not have high expectations, but it delivered. It was really good. The way that this movie is tackling subjects of like child rearing, which I don't have any kids or anything, but just the idea that we're in a future, we're in a present where technology is occupying the children's imaginations and their attention. Tablets, phones, all of these devices are what is taking up all of the time that the kids would have playing with the toys. And that's a really compelling thing to bring into the Toy Story universe, especially because the toys act as somewhat of parental figures to the kids. Like they're kind of their job, as it said in the plot description, their job is basically to be like inanimate parental figures. Like they have the children's best interests at heart. And I think that that's really interesting to see them play in that realm of them wanting to make sure that Bonnie doesn't become like a device zombie and doesn't go into just like, it's not all about them wanting to be played with and wanting to have the time with Bonnie. It's more about oh, we need to make sure that Bonnie is happy, and this device is not making her happy, and we need to do things. We need to facilitate happiness because that's our job as toys. And I just found that to be very compelling, and very well executed in the movie.
Yeah, I think more than 3 and 4 for me personally, this one felt like this had like kind of quite bluntly like the most reason to exist, or had the most like kind of
Yes.
purpose to it, because that is, you know, thankfully it's like they're not too late to it. You know, we're like, there are kids, yeah, again, being raised on tablets, devices, all this stuff. And I don't know a single parent who says, I have the answer, you know, like it's like, it's like, this is the one thing. It's like, no, it's an issue, and we are generally contending with it, and it's not a solved, you know, it's not settled science or by any means. And that's, I think, one of the reasons I like the movie is that it would be very easy, you know, for them to say, you know, oh, you know, tablet bad, technology bad, all this stuff. But, you know, it's funny going back to the original Toy Story, that's actually kind of what they're dealing with in a sense, not in terms of super sophisticated, but, you know, Buzz Lightyear is an electronic, you know, and has, you know, and can fly, and he's super kind of futuristic in this sort of thing. And of course, Woody being the kind of the old cowboy or whatever. And then all these like other analog toys or whatever, right? So, you know, in a sense, now what we're dealing with here, you know, over 30 years later, is different because tablets are much smarter. I'm not trying to say that, you know, Buzz Lightyear, because his wings can flip out, it means he can, you know, message all these kids and on the social media and all this crap. But
he can swat a kid.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And the AI version, in fact, we find in the cold open with this, or not not AI, but the next gen version, I think is what it's called. Which I will see. This isn't spoilers, but man, like this is the kind of stuff that, like, I don't care if it's a sequel. Like, if you give me a cold open like that in that first 5 minutes, like that's arguably more exciting than anything in Lightyear, which I generally thought was pretty okay. But like that, I was like, this is awesome. Like there's like all these Buzz Light, you know, they get marooned on this cargo thing, and I'm like, this is really exciting stuff.
I thought that was interesting, and we can talk about that subplot throughout the movie also, but it felt so disconnected from everything, which is by design.
Right.
But it felt like in that opening scene, for a brief moment, I was like, oh no, we're in trouble here.
Oh, really?
What are they doing? Yeah, because I just felt like, okay, this is a weird way to bring us back into the Toy Story universe. Eventually I warmed up to it.
Yeah.
I had these thoughts throughout it where I was like, man, what if like they inadvertently like just took over the fucking world or something? Like, what if this was like Toy Story 5 is like the horror movie of the franchise?
Yeah, like Small Soldiers or something. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. I kind of liked it just because it was so out of nowhere. Like, I think when going into a Toy Story movie, and again, I like this, I've liked every movie in this franchise, but with the fifth one, like for me anyway, like I'm kind of worried about like, you know, oh, here comes like the wistful score, and then let's go to Bonnie's room and all that stuff. And I'm just like, no, we're like, what is that? We're like on a cargo ship, and like I know Buzz Lightyear, like I understand the toy, but like all of the other setting and the context behind all of this, I don't know. I liked it. It reminded me a little bit of like the opening of, not that it's to this caliber, but like the opening of WALL-E, which is, you know, largely wordless. This isn't quite so much. There's still some dialogue, but it's still like kind of single words, the way these different Buzz Lightyears are kind of communicating. Buzz's Lightyear, I'm not sure. Anyway, so I just, again, I thought there was sort of a kineticism with that scene that I really liked. And another thing I liked about the movie that, again, I don't know if everyone liked it, but it worked for me, at least when I saw it, is this thing just moves. Like I thought it was really kinetic and, and again, just, you know, it had these multiple plot, and again, I could see maybe, again, I'm not a kid. I don't know if kids would maybe get, you know, I don't want to say too bored, because I think there's a lot happening, but there's like really legitimately 3 different like plots happening kind of in tandem. And so narratively it's pretty sophisticated, which again, some people might say like it's too busy, and maybe it's a detriment, but I just know from what I was watching it, I mean, I thought it was really great, and I think it was giving me sort of a lot to to chew on. So I don't know. I liked that part of it quite a bit.
Totally. And that kind of complexity of those multiple storylines, like I said, I wasn't too fond of the like stranded Buzz's Lightyear, as you said. That I wasn't that invested in it at the start, but as it progressed, there's like one moment in particular I'll talk about in spoilers where I was like, okay, I get it. Like the click together with me. It works. It's great because all of these different plot lines, all of these different threads are all going in the same direction, telling the same like exploring the same themes in varying degrees. Like at the end of the day, this movie is about child socialization basically,
Right.
and caring for loved ones and the power of imagination, really.
For sure.
And that's something that I loved that. I was so enamored with that because it is telling this very direct story of, devices are stunting the imagination of children and the whole thing. Like, that's why I say, like, it's not about the toys wanting to be played with. It's the toys recognizing that the children need to play with them because that is they're creating these things in their minds. And that goes into like the animation style of this movie. I don't remember how the like playtime sequences were done in Toy Story 4, but in like the first three, it was always like this like hyper cinematic, like same like near like photorealistic like CGI CG animation that's like, oh, Andy is playing with Woody and the other toys, and like, oh, Bo Peep is like about to get killed and he has to save the day, and like it's all like this big production. But here it's, I don't know if it's because it's from Bonnie's perspective and the new character Blaze, and I don't know if it's a gendered thing that it's these are two little girls playing with these toys, but like that almost like crayon sort of like animation style that is in those like those imagination sequences. It's not like this super cinematic thing. It's like this more artful, more tender and vibrant and colorful depiction. Like it's kind of it kind of veers almost into some like slight like anime kind of like ideas, like these like bright colors and the like loud colors like flashing when the plot of the playtime like shifts. I found that to be so refreshing and so interesting because it is more in tune with like what it is for a child's imagination. It's differentiating the actual things that are happening from the actual playtime imagination thing that is the plot that these kids are creating while playing with the toys. That having that differentiation really just really kind of knocked me on my ass. I was really impressed with it.
Yeah, me as well. I don't know if they did that in Toy Story 4. I don't think they did. I think this is and again, this is a great example of like, again, the fifth one in the series. Like at this point, I'm just kind of looking for new stuff, and that's new stuff, all right. Like it, it looked great. Totally agree with what you're saying, and I think it calls to mind with what you said earlier about. It's not about sort of, I said one way, like analog versus electronic or analog versus digital necessarily. Because again, and we'll talk about this, obviously, some of the other toys or tools or gadgets or whatever you want to say are electronic in this. It's more about it's more about devices being a flattening of the experience, of life, quite frankly. Where you're looking at those scenes and it's like they're in 3D, they're color and all this stuff, and and they're vibrant. Whereas anytime she's playing with Lily Pad, who's or Lily rather, is voiced by Greta Lee, the voice work in this, she's wonderful. Conan O'Brien is a new one, and he's wonderful. We'll talk about Smarty Pants, but Joan Cusack, Jessie is basically, she gets more screen time here than I think Woody or Buzz, and I think Joan Cusack does really wonderful work. So those three in particular, everyone's wonderful. But anyway, I think that's more what it is in terms of those sequences to me call to mind that it's not so much about necessarily analog versus digital or analog versus, electronic, but just whatever conduit you have to use your imagination versus these, tablet is really the main one in this, where it's just sort of, you're just sort of like, swiping and playing the games and everything. And it's like, I'm not trying to screen shame or anything. Like I can, play, games or whatever too, on phones or, any of it. But that's what those sequences, kind of remind you of, is like, it's more fun because they're using, they're using their imaginations to create, these fantastical scenarios where, Forky is getting married to, I forget who Forky's wife to be is, or bride to be is. But then also that ballroom sequence later that turns into like, there's a bomb and, all this stuff. And it's like,
so good.
And that's the thing. That's what kids do. And I mean, hopefully do. You would hope so, that's the point. Like you mentioned this, and that it's like, it's not about, it's not about the toy. It's about that they're in a sense, they're kind of the imagination or the tools of imagination.
Yeah. And it's something that I think is showcased really well in this movie, in contrast to the effect that the devices have, because the devices, it's not just sucking away all the energy from the kids. It's not just that. It is this harbinger of like adolescent anxiety and depression.
Yeah.
It is like this pit of despair that comes from like having this like 24/7 outlet for socializing with other kids and with other people, and having the pressure of like, oh, I need to wake up and I need to play this game because my friends are playing the game too, and I'll lose out on everything, and then I miss out on the group chat. I miss out on some inside jokes and everything. And with that, it is the movie demonstrates such a powerful and potent arc for Bonnie, because the way that she is like elated when she gets the lily pad, and when she like gets friends and everything, and then like having that then be turned on a dime with them kind of like looking at her like, oh, you play with toys? Like that's not cool. Like just that feeling, like that is just such raw emotion, and it's explored so wonderfully in this movie, and it's so it's incredible. And something that I kind of was thinking about while watching this movie is, again, I don't have any kids, but I know kids. There are kids in my life, and I was thinking about this in respect to Tiny and his wife and daughter. Tiny's daughter is 2 years old now, and something that I really appreciate about what Toy Story and what Pixar has been doing is like it seems like they have recently, in recent years, in the last like 10 or so years, they've not shifted, but they've made a point to really make some really interesting girl focused animated films. So like Inside Out 2, Turning Red, Brave is an early one also. And I really like that and respect that about them, because it's something that is has been so underserved in general. So I like that.
Yeah, Turning Red. I'm glad you mentioned that one, because I think that's wonderful. And I mean, I know that movie has like its fans, but it came out in that Disney Plus era when I think they released 3 really absolutely outstanding movies. But yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, and that's such a great point about the implicit like FOMO and like basically hardwiring this thing that unfortunately people our age have known for 10, 15 years, whatever it's been since smartphones or whatever. But yeah, all of these things where it's like kind of rewiring your brain or whatever, it's like that effect we're now seeing on like a 9-year-old kid. It's like no 9-year-old should be able, like, should have that stuff sort of messed with that early. And
Right.
Jesse makes mentions that at some point she's actually lashing out at I think Blaze's kind of drawer of like forgotten. It's like a GPA, Smarty Pants is like a potty trainer, so it's like obviously like Blaze is about 9 as well, like and that's what's just such a funny thing about this too, is it actually is talking about the weird, before like a lot of tech convergence or digital convergence or whatever, where every, a tablet can do 50,000 things or whatever. It's like you have like a separate GPS, and it's like, well, you don't really need that anymore. And it's like potty training thing, you don't, because you're not that old anymore. But it's so funny. There are these like kind of forgotten devices that are in this weird thing. So I thought that was like a fun subplot. But anyway, she's kind of lashing out at them, and she's like, you like tech toys or whatever. It's like you're making these kids grow up too fast. And again, that people will, maybe have certain reactions to that or whatever, in terms of whether that's a point, it's already been overstated. But I think like at the time where that kind of hits in the movie, it's like, and especially with her character too, right? Because, in terms of, going back to Toy Story 2, which this calls back to probably more than any of the other movies.
Absolutely.
Because it's so much about Jessie, this movie. That goes back to her character too, because she of course, that whole, when somebody loved me, or that song, like, about Emily kind of leaving her and that sort of thing. So, she has the sort of fear of abandonment as well. But again, it's kind of true. It's like, it's probably, it's not for me to tell parents how to raise their kids, but this idea that you're giving them such a, like, not just a powerful like tool in terms of the tablet, but just these things that we're talking about, like you mentioned, like the group chat, cyberbullying comes into this. Like there's so many things like that are packed into that tablet, just like all the features that it's like, it's just like a lot of future therapy bills.
Totally. And it's also interesting, this isn't really an indictment of Bonnie's parents or anything, but I did notice that it's noticeable. Like she obviously has, 2 parents. And Andy, like we only ever saw Andy's mother. And that was such an interesting dynamic to kind of have like this. I would kind of liken it to like a Spielberg movie that's like, not broken family, but like a family that's, children of divorce and everything. And like having those first 3 movies be about basically the toys becoming like parental figures to Andy and everything, or like having that care, like that was a really compelling thing. But here, Bonnie has, the traditional like full family there. But what I found interesting is that again, this isn't really an indictment of their parenting or anything. I don't know if this is the point, but it's interesting that they're like, I guess we can get her a tablet. That's fine.
Right.
That's like the shortcut to make her happy, since she doesn't really have any friends or anything. And that's like, that's such a bummer, really.
Yeah. And I mean, it's a good point too that you brought up about, and this is kind of a lot of this is kind of going back to our AI conversation and that sort of thing. I mean, about sort of trial and error. I mean, we were talking about it in context of art, but I mean, it's kind of in life too. You talk about socialization, like you don't always get along with everyone, and not because they're bad people or you're bad people or whatever. It's just, and again, that's one thing that, that Lily, for, all of as smart as the tablet is and on the pond, and I forget the name of the company that's behind all of it, but connects all their, but regardless, that, you can go off of all like the algorithms and trying to figure out who she might like, but it's like at the end of the day, like she never would have met Blaze or whatever, through Lily or whatever, through the tablet and all that. And again, that's all just to say that that stuff is just sort of you never know who you're going to connect with, and you never know how you're going to find your people. And so not to say you could never meet people online. I mean, honestly, your kids probably shouldn't meet people online. Right.
But
regardless, it's like again, that this movie is, again, I think I just appreciate the values that this movie, I think, has going on in terms of like valuing face-to-face communication, valuing the power of like imagination. What it's doing that while understanding, because again, you know, spoilers, there's an integration. I mean, with Lily, she's part of the group by the end. And again, that calls back to Toy Story, right? That's the whole crux of that movie is, you know, Woody and Buzz, like, how are they going to get on? You know, here we are, Toy Story 5. Of course, Buzz has been with them for decades. Right. So again, it's not a matter of, you know, tech bad, and it's not that. I'm glad it didn't get that simplistic. I'm glad that it's more nuanced in how that it handled that.
Same here. I loved that it is nuanced like that, because you think like fifth installment of a movie, like, or of a franchise, granted, like, I think that with Toy Story 5, these movies are kind of timeless and everything. Like, there's an infinite amount of stories that can be told in this universe with this central idea. But it's just so nice to see it have a fresh take with something really integral to say, something really important to say about you know, the world and children. And it's funny you said that about, like, you know, you don't get along with everyone. It's funny because the other night when I was watching Never Change, and like
some movies you don't get along with every movie.
Yeah. Well, like, I had messaged you and I was like, are you mad at me?
That's my hate language is suggesting movies that I know you're not going to enjoy. It's so funny because it really does tie back into the AI thing. Like, you know, you look at something like Toy Story 5, which we liked a lot. People made it. You look at something like Never Change, where we buried wherever, or we've spoiled the lead a lot, but we did not enjoy that movie. But again, it's like, you need to fail, you know, it's like you need to fail. You need to be able, it's comparative, you know, and what we do, comparative analysis. It's like there's good, you know, there's good mechanics or components to things, and then there's stuff that doesn't work, and it's interesting to talk about both, hopefully. I mean, you hope if something doesn't work that there's nothing to say about it either. That's like kind of the worst spot to be in. But regardless, you know, that's kind of where you are with something like this. It's like, it's, you know, it's better to, you know, put yourself out there and, you know, potentially fail than to, you know, just to play it safe. So so I like that too. And again, it's kind of all it's all in conversation with what's happening now, but I don't know, like it. That's why, again, this one feels like it has a lot of purpose, and it does feel pertinent to what's going on now. But like, I feel like it's something, again, we don't have the answer for. Like, I feel like it's something that we're still going to be contending with for a while, just in terms of like, just kids being impressionable and these devices getting smarter and smarter. And this movie doesn't even really deal with like AI, which is fine. It already deals a lot, so it's okay. I'm not saying that as a negativeness, but you know, there's a whole other can of worms coming down the road there, and in terms of what could be addressed. So yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see if they, you know, keep making them or whatever. But I really like this one. I know that.
Yeah, same here. And we'll go into spoilers here in a second. But I do want to say that even with this movie not delving into AI or anything, like, at least we have Scream 7 doing that. So there's that. Yeah. But we're going to switch over to spoilers. Before we do that, Brent, what did you rate this on Letterboxd, and where do you think it'll have a chance at cracking your top 10?
I gave it 4 out of 5. It'll definitely be on like my top 25 or top 30. So far, it's my favorite, favorite animated movie of the year. And I think, again, this and Sheep Detectives would be two that I would say are like really, really strong, like, family movies that I think, again, I don't know where the cutoff would be for this. Again, Sheep Detectives, I know we talked about as like a murder mystery, but I mean, I would say, God, I don't know. I mean, anywhere from 8 or up. I don't know how old kids are supposed to be when they see movies, but anyway,
Yeah,
it's
same.
a Toy Story movie, so I don't know, whatever, use your discretion. But
Right.
but I had a really wonderful time with it.
Same here. I also rated it 4 stars. I could see that going up to 4.5 upon rewatching it. But I was really impressed. And I really enjoyed this. Yeah. So are you ready to go into spoilers for Toy Story 5?
Sure. Yeah.
All right. And so, like I said earlier in this episode, I'm going to play a new spoiler stinger to bring us into spoilers. So here we go with that.
Kizu, kiss Kizu, is out.
What the fuck are you saying?
I stepped into a private trap back there.
Clever girl.
Do you want to take a leap of faith?
I'm afraid I can't do that.
That was longer than a heartbeat.
Yeah, say that again.
That was longer than a heartbeat.
Hey, tell me about it.
That was longer than...
Okay, we get the point.
Okay, so spoilers on for Toy Story 5. Brent, I want to mention about the Buzz's Lightyear subplot. And the moment that it clicked together for me and really started working for me was that moment where one of them is stranded and a kid picks him up and they mount a rescue mission, and just like that look in the tent of seeing the kid like with their parents reading a book, and the kid clutching the Buzz Lightyear, and just that look of recognition that washes over all the Buzzes. That's like, oh, this is our purpose. Like, we don't need to follow, like, we don't need to rendezvous with Star Command. We're toys. Like, it's such an interesting, like dialogueless distillation of the entire like arc of Toy Story 1,
Right.
just all in one moment. And I thought that was just really beautiful storytelling, and like that's where it kind of clicked with me. And then later on they're drones, so whatever.
I mean, it's fun. Yeah, I get that, and I know like people might not, is like in terms of the next gen, Buzz Lightyear stuff. Yeah, yeah, maybe it's like too farcical or whatever, that there's like this hive of drones and she does this, AI upgrade. Or not AI, God, I keep saying it, firmware upgrade or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, it was some kind of upgrade. I don't know what it is.
Sure.
But regardless,
Wi-Fi upgrade.
Wi-Fi upgrade, yeah. But regardless, it did remind me a little bit of Toy Story 2. The big thing with Toy Story 2 for me was like, Toy Story 1 was kind of like the proof of concept. Like you got a great like voice cast, and like you're sort of like just doing the best you can. Toy Story 2, I think they really flexed their muscles in terms of like the animation style was like pretty, like even in 4 years was really strong. So again, those sort of scenes with like the drones and like, again, like that opening scene, it just reminded me of like, again, just the really like fluid, clever, creative, like I don't want to say action, but I mean, I guess so, like set pieces or whatever, where it's like, again, it's exciting, you can like really like see them moving, and it's not, it's not Buzz going around the like on the Hot Wheel car and like pretending to fly. It's like, no, he's like they're flying, and they're going, like the cone sequence in the second one, like something like that, like where it's like oh, this is really neat, and all the cars are swerving around. It's like this is really like visually has like just like a real, again, like kineticism to it that at that time, I mean, especially, was really impressive. But again, I mean, I think like even in this, I'm like, these are, I think it's, I mean, it's like it's like the most, I feel like almost not tired, but like most obvious refrain you can have with anything, but like saying that a Pixar movie, the animation is incredible in it, like it will always be true whenever you say it's like it was true of Toy Story 2 in 1999. It's true of Toy Story 5 in 2026. I mean, there's just like just an incredible amount of detail, like especially in Blaze's house, I would say. Like it just felt so like it was more of like a farmhouse because they have like farm animals and stuff. just like all of the detail and like the floorboards, and you're just like, I can't understand how it's like it's so
totally.
good. Like it's just it's incredible how much detail is filled with it. So filled in there. So yeah, I like that stuff. We should probably talk to I think one of the things I really liked about this, I have to say, is it didn't go for a lot of the pathos like gut punches. The one major one that it does is with Jessie and finding out that Emily named her daughter after her, which is really good. Like, which is excellent.
Yeah. Like that, I was not expecting that.
Yeah.
I like, even when she's like opening the lunchbox, the time capsule thing, and like she's trying to figure, like she's like, I don't understand, like this isn't, like this is too new, and I'm like what the fuck is going on?
I know, it's kind of
like,
weird.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And then when the reveal happens, like that she named her daughter after Jessie, it's like that was like tears like just welling up in my eyes, like the way that my eyes would in past Pixar movies. And I was just like, that is just such a beautiful moment. And I love that, it's paying off a very emotional arc in Toy Story 2, and it's giving closure to that character. And I absolutely love it. And to go back to the whole, like the girl focus of Pixar and the girl focus of this movie, I was a little worried when we were getting a lot of Jessie's stuff early in the movie. Once Woody is like contacted and Woody comes back, I was like slightly nervous that it was going to turn into like, oh, the old gang, it's Buzz and Woody, and it does for a little bit, but we still retain a lot of that Jessie stuff. Jessie has such a great arc throughout the movie. Like you said, even her chastising the tablet, like the devices.
Yeah, Smarty Pants. I mean, we got Conan O'Brien. I mean, is just
oh my god,
is so wonderful in this. I don't know, like what. Yeah, I know he's always done a lot of different like types of things, and I guess the podcast, his podcast is probably the thing that he maybe dedicates the most time to, I guess you could say. But man, if he's gonna keep doing like this is such a, like he's so great in this. Of course, last year with If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You, which is very, of course, night and day from this. Very different, but still so good. But
also about young girls and people trying to take care of them.
Right. Yeah. Oh, and the Please Don't Destroy movie he's in for like 10 minutes.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Which he's actually good at.
Which is also about
which is also ties into
I can't connect it.
But anyway.
Which also has people flying improbably.
That's true. Yeah, very good. So all that to say, like, I don't know, maybe for him it makes more sense to like be more selective with what he does, but I don't know, man. He's great. He's at a point now where it's like I love him anyway for a long time, but I mean, like when he pops up in something like this, I'm like, oh man, like he really did an awesome job. So he's fun addition to the voice cast for sure.
Yes, I didn't know that he was in it, and it was so nice. It was so great to see that character. That character is like, for me, Smarty Pants is like the Forky of Toy Story 5, in that it's the new character that is just to try to use toilet puns, wiping the floor with everything. Although you don't really wipe the floor with any. That's not a poop joke.
You might think it's messy. I mean,
I don't know.
It's potty trained and it's not potty perfect.
Yes. Exactly.
Yeah, this did remind me of Forky a little bit, who is in Tony Hale is in 5.
Yeah.
In a little bit. I mean, it's kind of, these movies too, it's like there's so many people, like Key and Peele aren't in this one, and they were in the 4th one. Their characters show up, but they don't have actual lines. But regardless, it's great. So awesome job. Awesome job there. And I mentioned Greta Lee too. I think she's like, she's just so good at the, like, trying to be helpful and like very intelligent, you can just tell, but also like that menacing thing too. She just like gets she just gets that like just right, almost to the extent where I'm like, I feel like no one else could have voiced that tablet. Like it's just perfect. So great job for her too.
Yes. In Lily Pads, the whole arc of that character is really well done because it's not, the tablet isn't positioned as a villain. Like it's not a nefarious thing that is purposely trying to sabotage Bonnie.
Right.
It's not anything as like black and white as that. It's just like she's genuinely wanting to help her and do her role as a toy, but it's just the fact that, by, definition, it's just like it's very detrimental to the mental health of Bonnie. And like when she realizes that, and like she gets into such a depression, that Lilypad does, that she does the toy equivalent of like very dark thoughts, and like she offers herself up for donation. It's just that was a really satisfying arc for me.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it reminded me a little bit too of like anxiety in Inside Out 2, who like again isn't positioned as like, that's the thing for me. I mean, I don't want like Toy Story 3 to like catch strays, but you kind of run into that with like Prospector, the Prospector in the second one, and then Lotso Hugging Bear, I think, in the third one, where it's like, oh, they seem kindly and nice, but they aren't that whole thing.
Right.
I like that, again, it's like, again, in terms of the villainous part of this, it's like, yeah, I mean, she's the closest thing to like an antagonist. But it's more that, it's more like the technological divide between kids is like really the antagonist. And, the kind of solution or whatever is, her finding Blaze, which again, I kind of spoiled a little bit in the non-spoiler section, but like, Lily is there in the end. They're taking photos with her and everything when they're playing with having the other wedding. This is like bookended by like weird weddings, but so like she's still there. And again, that's what I like about this, is it's like she is sort of like integrated into the cadre of all these I don't know how many toys we have now, it's a lot,
right?
So it's not just that like that's a separate thing, it's like kind of again not trying to say that technology bad or whatever, so yeah, just like all sorts of touches in this. I just think we're I mean, just saying it quite frankly, like it's better than it needed to be. And like, I don't like that phrase, better than it,
what has any right to be?
Yes, I don't like that phrase.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I've never written it or never said it, but I think people say it a lot, and it's better than it has any right to be. I know what people mean when they say that.
Yeah.
And I think to say that when I'm saying is, especially from like specifically from an animated movie like perspective, because this movie made a lot of money. It probably would have made a lot of money even if it were half as good as it was. Just in terms of like the quality. And sometimes stuff is like, sometimes like family movies, it's like it is pretty bad and it still makes a lot of money. So it's like, that's kind of what I mean when I'm saying specifically, like it didn't quote unquote like need to be this good. I'm not saying it doesn't have any right to be or deserve to be. It's just that I'm thinking of it more from like the economic sense of like, they wouldn't have to put this much effort into it to make a lot of money.
Exactly. It's an established property that has like many iterations, many different things, whether it's on Disney Plus or theatrical, like the fifth installment. Like this is where they could just coast on it. They could just coast on it and put out what wouldn't be as strong of a product and still rake in the money for it just from recognition. But that's something that I find really interesting too, is that this is the fifth installment, and comparing like the plot, and this also harkens back to Toy Story 4, my memory of it at least, but it's so interesting to see the evolution of this franchise, because the first three, they tell very heartfelt stories, very emotionally driven stories, but it's really a big proponent of those stories is the concept, the idea that, oh, these toys have lives, and the way that different human things like factor into the toy world, like, oh, there's a garage sale, we need to hide, and having all of these like fun little adventures that way. Oh, we're lost because we fell out of the car, or the car went away and everything. And here that's like a choice that that like Jesse makes, or what have you, and that, like, it's not that big of a thing. But here, now that we've had those installments that explain and go into depth about like the life of the toys and that central like magical concept, since that's been established, we can have these very emotionally driven and very structured and kind of complex stories about the developing mind of children, and,
Right.
And their greatest enemies, which is like technology and devices and stuff, and how that factors into the social aspect of their lives and in different ways. I think that that's just such rich storytelling that I would not have expected from the fifth installment of any franchise. Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of the best case scenario with a lot of sequels, not just Pixar or animated, but like in any genre or studio or any of that, where it's like, you really are taking what's already established. It's a lot of that stuff and how toys were in their whole worlds and everything. You establish that in 1, 2, and all of that. And then it's like, well, we don't even have to do that. We don't have to cover that ground. You already know all these characters. You already know how they work and all this stuff. So now we can just do the story, or we can establish more characters or all this stuff. And so, yeah, I mean, that's the hard, I mean, again, it's like, I'm learning that, I guess, learning in a sense with, movies like Hoppers, right? It's really hard. And I mean, that movie, even jokes, about, being like Avatar or whatever, but I mean, they can joke about it if they want, but like, it kind of is. But it reminds you, of course, not only is it hard to come up with like really original concepts, but it's hard to like do an original movie where the foundation is so good that you want to build on it. Like, I don't think anyone wants a Hoppers. I mean, I shouldn't keep throwing trays at Hoppers, but I mean, just whatever. I mean, just any, whatever, Elemental 2, that's fine. I mean, whatever, or the good, there's a reason a good Dinosaur 2 hasn't come out, in the year of our Lord 2026. So, that's the hard thing. So, I mean, I think, again, I'm sort of coming around to the idea that it's like, well, if it's a sequel to a really good movie and it's a really good starting point and they actually are going to put effort behind it, and like they have done with Inside Out 2 and Toy Story 5, like, maybe I'm okay with it. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We'll see what happens with like Incredibles 3 and Monsters Inc. 2 and other ones that will come out. But yeah, I'm just so pleased that the focus is still on the stories.
Yes.
And it's growing with time and the way that they do these stories. Like, I mean, this is apples and knife wielding oranges, but
that's good.
But
that's going to be Toy Story 6 right there.
Yes. But like thinking of like, oh, the fifth installment of a franchise, like, I don't know why I'm comparing it to this, but Scream 5. Like, I love Scream 5. That's one of my favorites of the franchise, but it is also very much like nostalgia bait for the first movie. It is trying to do that. Like, it is having that kind of nostalgia factor into it. And like even Star Wars 7, the Force Awakens, that is a reboot, essentially. That is a remake of A New Hope dressed up as, a new installment. And it was successful and everything. And like Toy Story 5, they could have just, like we said, they could have just coasted with it, but they chose to make a really compelling and very emotionally resonant and strong movie.
Yeah. Gotta call it out when it happens, because it's a good thing.
Oh yeah. Yeah, totally. Also, it gets points for making me feel like I could cry at a toy wedding.
Yeah.
Like, just great stuff. So I think that about does it for our review of Toy Story 5. Any final thoughts, Brent?
I don't think so. It's really lovely. I know it's making a lot of money. Hopefully it makes more. Weirdly kind of like soft next like few weeks, I feel like. I know, well, I guess like Supergirl's coming out, but then like, I'm trying to think of like other like family stuff. I like until I guess Minions versus Monster, or Minions and Monsters, whatever it is.
Oh yeah.
You know, but yeah, I hope this does really well. I hope that, again, I know Inside Out 2 did very well, and it isn't that I want originals to like go away. Like, obviously, like I would love to see like really, really great originals from them, but I also am hoping that they're learning. I'm hoping that they're like everything. I always hope the studios are learning the right lesson from this, that people aren't seeing it. Hopefully they aren't seeing it just because it's Inside Out 2 or Toy Story 5. They're seeing it because it's really good.
Exactly.
So that's kind of my prayer for the future of, Pixar and every other, thing that's out there, quite frankly.
Totally. And in terms of upcoming competitions that it has, like you said, Monsters or Minions and Monsters, but also, of course, Gil Daughtry and the Celebrity Sex Pass is coming up. So it's got to go up against that.
That's the thing between that and the invite. It's like, I don't think you're bringing your 9-year-old to these. I would, hopefully not. And I want your sex. I think
that's right.
Maybe you are. I don't know. They're gonna. It's gonna be different kind of audience, I would think. But maybe, I don't know.
Yeah. But anyway, that's our review of Toy Story 5. We're going to go into a probably brief secondary review of Never Change. But before that, you can follow Brent. He's still going to stick around, but you can follow Brent on Letterboxd at letterboxd.com/awakeinthedark. So I'll go ahead and read my little blurb here, and then we'll go into our secondary review. And before we get to our secondary review, I want to take a quick moment to remind you that if you like the show, please take a moment to follow us on social media and subscribe to and rate the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube Music, or whatever your preferred podcast app is. And don't forget to subscribe to the Obsessive Viewer Podcast YouTube channel as well, where I post short snippets of podcast episodes, full video versions of the podcast, and other little bits and pieces here and there. And occasionally live streams of podcasts. And also, I neglect to mention this all the time, but basically, we have merch available. Like, we have a merch store on TeePublic, TeePublic.com. I think if you go to like teepublic.com/user/obsessiveviewer, you'll find the store. But you can get, swag with our logo on it for all of the podcasts and old logos as well. And we get money for it too. So check that out. TeePublic, link in the show notes. And now back to the show.
Tell me I view obsessively.
And for our secondary review, I have another singer that I'm going to play, but I'll do a bumper for that when we get into the review. But basically, the review for the secondary review this week, that's a mouthful, is Never Change, which is available to stream on Hulu. It was released on June 17th, 2026. And here's the bumper, I think.
I'm not interrupting anything, am I?
So Back to the Future's a bunch of bullshit?
Yeah, well, history is going to change.
Can I return it if it doesn't fit?
It always fits. Eventually.
What are you asking? That we weigh the life of one against the future of mankind?
Didn't see it coming, did you?
So, Never Change was released on June 17th on Hulu. The premise, according to IMDb, is former high school seniors reunite in their 30s to complete their education after a tornado abruptly ended their final year in 2005. As they return... That's not right. it's like 2008.
Yeah.
As they return to the halls of North Meadows High, past relationships reignite and hidden truths surface. Director for this movie was Marty Shoesbow, and writers were John Reynolds and Marty Shoesbow. And the cast includes Joe Firestone, Aidan Marie, Carmen Christopher, Gary Richardson, John Reynolds, Sophia Black, Delia, Maria Thayer, John Early, Topher Grace, and Anna Gasteyer. So, Brent, I'm going to ask the question again. You suggested that we watch this, that we review this for the secondary review. Are you mad at me?
I'm not mad at you. I do apologize, though.
Okay.
So
no need.
when we were doing this, I figured like Toy Story 5 would be good, and we had at our friend Nick's house, we had a whole lineup, a whole like film festival on Saturday. Basically, I was like, I'm not really gonna be able to. I'm not gonna have like time to go out and see another movie before we do something. So this came out, I think, last Wednesday or Thursday on Hulu. I knew virtually nothing about it. I knew it was called Never Change. I figured it was a comedy based on the poster, and I think there was something about, it was almost like there was like a high school or something on the thing. So I'm like, I don't know, maybe it's like a high school comedy or something. That was it. I think you said American High at the top of this episode. Is that like a comedy troupe or something?
I think so.
Okay.
I think they also did Pizza Movie that's also on Hulu.
Oh.
And some other movies have come up, and like seeing online, like people talked about this movie and was like, oh yeah, I never miss an American High movie. And I'm like, I'm turning 40 this week. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Pizza Movie I did see, and that was also on Hulu. That came out, I think, last month, and that was actually pretty good.
Yeah. I've heard good things, and I wanted to do, like, I might still try to do like a companion episode to this episode and do Hoppers and Pizza Movie.
Okay.
So that might be on Patreon. We'll see. But yeah.
I mean, Pizza Movie is, I mean, it's better than this, than Never Change, but it's also, I think, pretty different. Like, it's pretty much like a stoner comedy. Like, it knows what it is, which is one of the biggest problems with Never Change, at least for me, is I don't know what this movie was. I mean, the first like 15, 20 minutes, I was like, it was almost like anti-comedy in the sense where I was like, I just didn't, it felt like I was like speaking a different language. And I think for me, it was just like, I understood the premise of the film, which you just read, but I didn't understand like the comedic premise. Like, okay,
exactly,
like, what's funny about that? Or like, okay, that's a jumping off point, but like you need like jokes, not just like types, you know. And they're doing the thing where they, you know, slap the the fact sheet on or whatever for all these people, and they're going back to the high school. It's like, you know, that's like a generally okay premise, not the most like creative thing. And I'm speaking of it even in the terms of a comedy, but this movie just kept going, and it's like, I did not understand, like, they're working so hard. It's one of those things, I mean, with comedy, that's why my blurb for this was comedy is hard, because you kind of have to see movies like this to really understand when it doesn't work. Like, it makes you appreciate the ones that do work that much more.
Totally.
And that was the thing with this, is just watching scene after scene where I'm just like, it just kept missing, where I'm like, okay, like, it was almost just like willfully, like stubbornly unfunny. I was just kind of like, it was bizarre, and I didn't recognize a number of these performers. Maybe the central troupe, I'm not sure, but I did recognize people like, I mean, Anna Gasteyer's in this. Patty Harrison and Zach Cherry are in the same scene at one point. You know, Topher Grace is in it. It's like, there are people that, you know, that have been in plenty of like good comedies before. So it was just so bizarre how much this movie just did not work functionally. I mean, at a foundational level.
Yeah. And it also featured, I don't know if you caught this, it also featured recent recent person that we've viewed at Nick's house, Steve Little, from Coffee Town.
Oh, right. Yeah. Who's the janitor
that
in this, I
was
think?
nice. I think
At
so.
one point, he's singing karaoke. Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah. That's the thing. Is like, I feel like this kind of a sketch. I mean, watching it, it's like, again, I talk about other, I mean, I hate to even bring this up, but, like the David Wayne movies, I mean, Wet Hot American Summer, which this is way, way, way worse than, but something like that, or, like the Broken Lizard movies, I would say, somewhat too, where it's like, again, those movies, pretty much all, I mean, Super Troopers, for instance, way better than this. Wet Hot American Summer, way better. But you can at least understand, like, I think that's maybe the mold for this. It's just that it's like, I guess I don't have very much nice to say about this movie, but it's just like the version that doesn't work.
It's like, it's like this comedy trip. This group of people are like, they have, it's a solid premise. Sure. It's a solid jumping off point. Like, it's an interesting twist on like the high school reunion thing. It's a really good, solid foundation for it. And like you said, it feels like they're actively avoiding any kind of like good comedy. Like, it just feels like so like such a chore to watch it. Like, there are running gags. There's one running gag that I'll reference here in a second that I enjoyed, but like little things like the three guys sipping coffee and like wincing and saying shit after every sip. It's like, I don't see the humor in that. Like, it's similar to like a David Wayne bit in They Came Together, one of my all-time favorite comedies, the bar scene, which is hysterical because it is it's overlapping, or it's repeating itself. I even used it in a clip in the spoiler bumper. Like, it's great, and it seems like this is maybe drawing inspiration from that, but not understanding on a fundamental level why it's funny.
Yeah.
And there are other things in this movie that are just so confusing. Like, there's an establishing shot of the school where the camera just goes like a complete circle, like in
a drone
like
shot,
a 360
sort of thing.
a drone shot. It's like it looks interesting, but I don't understand why. Like, why the fuck? Like, it feels like, oh, okay, I want to try this because we're making a movie. I don't have any reason other than we're making a movie.
Yeah. Well, you look at someone like David Wayne, right, and something like They Came Together, right? That's a movie that, David Wayne or and whoever else worked on that movie in terms of writing or whatever understands. They're playing with tropes. They're playing with romantic comedy tropes, and I think the reason, I'm pretty sure you like that movie so much, is because you like romantic comedies. You understand the tropes so well that when you see that movie that's poking fun of the guy's down in his dumps and goes to the bar and says, "Make it a double," it would be funny if they couldn't get past that conversation. And the payoff is that you realize that he basically gets broken recorded when he's telling the story to Bill Hader and Ellie Kemper, and it's just like, it's just silly. Why? It's like, well, why is it? Well, it's funny that you would get, you would get in like a CD skipping record player skipping. But I don't think that's a funny thing, but it's also playing with the thing of, you're playing with the dejected guy at the bar, and him having the conversation. And it's funny that this guy would repeat this 4 or 5 times. Again, with David Wayne, he has the comedic, like, he knew the exact amount of times that had to be funny. And that's a formula. Like, I'm not saying it can't be taught, like, it's instinct. But again, but he is smart enough to know that you're dealing with, like, that premise of that, and then the payoff of, like, okay, and then Bill Hader stops him and is like, okay, we get it. It's like, it's just silly. But it's like, but it's so, again, like, this is what I'm saying. Like, you see a movie like this and you're like, oh, like, it is hard. Like, it's really hard to get that right and to So yeah, anyway, I did want to bring up another movie that I'd mentioned to you maybe a month or two ago called The Napa Boys, which is another comedy that I don't know the troupe exactly. That I didn't like that movie either, but I liked it more than this. And in hindsight, I'm trying to like figure out what they're doing in that, which incidentally, David Wayne is in that movie briefly.
Yeah.
It is, man, that movie still I at least appreciate what they're like trying to do, because they're at least, I think in a way, something like with Never Change to me, it just felt really lazy. You can't, for me, The Napa Boys wasn't lazy. Like, it's really trying for something and it's really going for it. It's almost like a satire of like the American Pie sequel. That's why I recommended it to you, because it almost seems like it's a satire, I think, in part of like gross out comedies from like the 2000s, whereas like Never Change, it's like, I don't know what the target is. Like, I literally don't. What's what is this playing on? Like, I don't know. It reminded me a little bit in like almost like a really unsuccessful version of Not Another Teen Movie, because there's a little bit of an American subplot here. There's a little bit of like Can't Hardly Wait, and one other one that I can't remember. Mean Girls a little bit was a Tudor thing. Like, it's playing with high school movie tropes, but man, like there are so many movies that I'm just mentioning Not Another Teen Movie, but there's plenty of movies that have done that better.
Right.
So I just don't know what we're doing. It
doesn't even feel like one of those examples of trying and failing. It doesn't feel like they had anything really in mind. It's so crazy. And like I had mentioned this, and Napa Valley kind of Napa Boys kind of falls in line with this, which I haven't seen it, but a lot of those people that are in Napa Boys are like regulars on like Comedy Bang Bang, which is like one of my favorite, podcasts and TV shows when it was on for 5 years on IFC. But anyway, I had mentioned this, and this isn't necessarily a criticism of Never Change, but I was so like bored and just like unaffected by the comedy bits, the humor of this movie, that like I latched on to the fact that like John Reynolds, he bears a resemblance to one of my personal favorite like improvisers on Comedy Bang Bang, Ryan Gaul, who was also in bajillion dollar properties on CISO, which doesn't exist anymore. But anyway, he bears a resemblance to Ryan Gaul. John Reynolds does. And I was so bored with this movie that I kept thinking like, man, they could take this premise, replace everyone in the movie with people that are in Comedy Bang Bang, and like they could just have them improvise this scenario and it would be comedy gold. And I think that is telling, that would be my takeaway from it, when this movie presumably has a script that it followed, and it floundered so hard.
Yeah, it's rough. And I mean, again, I think the Napa Boys would be, especially if you know that, like, I didn't know majority. I mean, I knew some people like here and there in terms of like maybe people in smaller roles or cameos, but in terms of that like central troupe, I don't know them. But again, they might be people that you know better from like the comedy world. So that's one I would say check it out, because I can't say that it totally worked for me, but I understood what it was trying to do, I think, at least on some level. But two, it's trying. Like, just because a movie is trying, it doesn't mean it's always going to work for everybody. But again, it's one of those movies that it's like, okay, well, it didn't quite work for me. Especially comedies are a lot that way. It didn't quite work for me, but I can at least say, like, that's where I can say, like, I didn't like it, but I would recommend it to you because, again, I see parts of like David Wayne's like filmography in what they're trying to do. So like, it's maybe, okay, it didn't work for me like something like They Came Together or The 10 or Wet Hot American Summer or any of his movies, even like Role Models. But like, But it's worth checking out just to kind of see what you think of it because it's definitely trying something. So whereas that's one of my biggest problems with Never Change is just felt like, I didn't even, if they were trying, I don't even know what it was. I couldn't like recognize it. It's just so, it's a bizarre experience, but I like this.
Totally.
I mean, not that I want to put you in trouble I don't like to see you in pain. And I mean, just, it's like a bookend, but I do apologize, but I mean, there is, I say this all the time. There is worth in seeing stuff that doesn't work and doesn't work for you.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And
understanding why it doesn't
exactly.
work is a big thing.
Yeah, exactly. Trying to like pick apart why it doesn't and all of that. So, oftentimes it can be more interesting than just stuff that's like, oh, it was pretty good. It did some things well, it did some things not well. And that's still, I mean, yeah, that's, there's nothing wrong with that either. But sometimes stuff just like totally bombs for you and you're like, man, what happened? Crime scene,
Absolutely. And like, I will say, and this wasn't a total waste of time because there was one plot line that I wasn't laughing at it really hard or anything, but I was like, it was good for a chuckle.
Sure.
And it was the guy talking about, because the premise is they're in high school for 2 weeks to finish their college or their high school diploma because a tornado destroyed their school and they never finished high school. Anyway, so what I wanted more of in this is the type of humor that is in the one guy saying like, hey, my parents are gone. I'm having a party. And then they're like, your parents are dead. And where'd your parents go? And then he's like, they both died. And like, so he's filling that like trope of, oh, gonna have the rager at my house. Yeah. But since it's 30 years after high school, like his parents are dead and recently dead. And so he's like doing this combination of filling that trope while also holding back tears of the grief and everything. And that is, to my recollection, the only thing that felt like comedy that was trying to be performed and trying to be earned.
I think that's fair. That was funny. Him saying, "It's gonna be a rager," but he's like actually like upset. Yeah, and again, like that's something where it's like you're dealing with like two people like trying to like like the straight man, like trying to do something. I mean, I did like the guy. I'm sorry, I don't remember people's names, but the guy who was sort of bald and had sort of kind of like a unibrow thing going on. He had to, during like the sex ed part, he had this whole thing about this whole gamut of stuff he went into. And he's like, no, I'm just a missionary. And that was pretty funny. But there was I think, unfortunately, the only time I actually audibly laughed was when they're doing time capsules, which again, like, I guess these are kind of like tropes. I think it's mainly, I don't know. It's mainly just the jokes don't tend to work. But I did like the time capsule. People are unscrewing their time capsules and there's all sorts of menagerie stuff. This guy unscrews his and it's the VX poison gas strains from The Rock.
Yes.
And then he just like slowly, carefully puts it back in. And I mean, you have to know that, movie, of course, which I think a lot of people have seen The Rock. But that caught me off guard. That was really clever.
Me too.
There's like little things, here and there, but man, there's a lot of scenes where they're playing it straight, or trying to like play it straight. And it's like, you think they're maybe trying to like, oh, I don't recognize you from high school. Well, I did this and I don't remember. Oh, this hyper specific thing. I don't remember. It's like, no, it's just not working.
Yeah.
It's so tough. Yeah. When you're watching a comedy and you're just like, oh, but yeah, there are rumors here and there. I mean, yes, that scene that you referenced to in the classroom is funny. And, I mean, again, there's people here that know how to do funny. It's just like, but there's just too much of the like straight-laced, like, these like through lines that just like don't really matter. Like I agree with you. I would have liked it more if it had just been, frankly, probably more scenes of like that are just like, you know, I mean,
more unexpected, more like
that's a great way.
Offbeat.
Yes, very, very much.
Like,
so.
And like you said, there are funny people in this movie. Like even like John Early playing like against type, playing like a douchey like straight man.
Right.
That has had potential, but like he's not in it a lot, and there's not a lot like done with that. I think could have been interesting, but you know.
Yeah, man, it's just I mean, it doesn't always work, and you know, it's a bummer. But you know, I hope. Yeah, I mean, I did like Pizza Movie again. I don't know to what degree they're affiliated, how producer, what what it is exactly, but honestly, if you're on Hulu, check that out instead, because you know that very much knows that it's a stoner comedy. Plays very much within its lanes, does not try to be anything more than that. And that's a fun movie. But Never Change was it was rough.
Garbage.
It was bad, man. It was bad.
It was bad. Yeah. Well, I'm glad you're not mad at me. And you know, I don't regret seeing it. It's good to have it like in my
didn't have to leave the house for
next 24 hours.
Hopefully didn't have to start a Hulu subscription for it. Hopefully.
No, I had one.
There you go.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, that'll do it for our secondary review. What did you rate Never Change on Letterboxd?
I did 1.5 out of 5. It's just
Same
here.
It's
just a little you get little nuggets here, and it's like, oh, Patty Harrison, like, you know, people like show up and you're like, oh, it's nice to see them.
Oh yeah.
They're not really doing anything that I care about, but it's fun to see them.
Right.
So
it's nice to see them have a paycheck, I guess.
Exactly.
Like, it's fine.
So like little morsels, but it's pretty scant. Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, same here. 1.5 star. That'll do it for this episode. Brent, thank you so much. And could you tell people where they can find you online and what reviews you have coming down the pike?
Yeah, absolutely. You can find all my work at awakeinthedark.com. I'm on Facebook and Letterboxd and Twitter and Threads and Blue Sky and Instagram. I usually only post like once a week or whatever. But yeah, in terms of reviews, I have Supergirl coming up, and then I think I'm driving to Chicago to see The Invite because like nothing is coming out that 4th of July weekend. Like I don't want to see Monsters and Minions. I'm not reviewing that. Sorry. So yeah, probably The Invite, and then I think whatever the Screen Unseen is going to be next Monday, but I'm almost positive it's going to be Gail Daughtry. I hope so. There's pretty, and that's going to be at probably both AMC and Regal. Whatever movie they're picking is going to be the same one. So I'm hoping that's it, which is a David Wayne movie that will hopefully be better.
Yes.
than Never
Oh,
Change.
absolutely.
So.
I'm very excited for that movie.
Yes.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, that'll do it for this week's episode. Thanks again, Brent. Especially with the technical difficulties. I do think it's ironic that we reviewed Toy Story 5 and I had to go to my iPad to do the video portion of this that I hope works out. But that's it for this week's episode of The Obsessive Viewer. As always, thank you so much for listening, and make sure to follow the show on social media and subscribe to the podcast on your preferred podcast app. Also, check out our other shows, Tower Junkies and Anthology. Links in the show notes. And again, we have merch on TeePublic that can be found at the link in the description and everything. Mugs, phone cases, bags, shirts, stuff like that. You can get our logo embroiled on there on your clothing. I don't know. Anyway, next time on the podcast, we'll be reviewing Supergirl and voicemails for Isabel. So look forward to that. Until then, thank you for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Looking at all my eyes can see, they tell me I view obsessively.